Hello, hello. This is a video that I lost yesterday. I'm going to recreate it. It's on bullies. This is a video on bullies. Um, I want to make sure that I um, am not as angry as I was yesterday when I did this video. Um, Sometimes I have to use a little bit of judgment. You know me, I don't have a lot of judgment, but bullies. I feel the Mormon church has been one of the biggest bullies. In fact, it is the biggest bully I've ever had in my whole life. I didn't know it. I was young. I was stupid. I was born in the church. I went through seminary. I went through BYU. I went through temple worker, veil worker. I've been in the elders quorum presidency, etc., etc. I didn't know that I was being forced to live a certain lifestyle. I didn't want to live a different lifestyle, but I didn't want to be controlled the way I was. Let me start with my little girl, Monica. I was my high school sweetheart, Janet. I found 2 or 3 years later, after I was a student at BYU, that she'd had a baby. And she was poor. She was a single mom. The baby had nothing. Didn't have basically diapers, didn't have bottles, didn't have toys, had nothing. And I visited Janet on a couple occasions, and Monica was laying on a hard kitchen floor, linoleum or tile, whatever, and a little blanket and, just partial kind of a diaper and a little ragged T-shirt on her. I felt bad. I did feel bad. When I say at this moment, I feel bad. And so, long story short, I married Janet, my high school sweetheart. 9 years. We had 5 children. And Monica was always part of that family and one of the children. Well, we were in the Mormon church, and of course, they bullied her, my wife, Janet. When she was a teenager, she'd had 2 abortions. Back in those days, there were no abortion clinics in the United States. She had to go to Mexico. And that's before I basically married her and had any real relationship with her. And so we decided to go to the temple. We wanted to get sealed to each other. We wanted to have the children sealed to us. So we put in an application for our temple recommend, and when they interviewed her, she revealed that she had had 2 abortions. Well, they went berserk. They went totally berserk, and this was back in, who knows, I can't even remember how far back it goes. But anyway, they intimidated her. They made her come in and talk to the bishop 2 or 3 times. They made her talk to the state president 2 or 3 times, and then she had to talk to an area rep or a general authority, who knows. They all wear the same tie and the same Jesus mask. You can't tell one from another. And I should have protected her. I was a father. I was her husband. And I was a pussy. I just bowed my head and said yes. Bowed my head, said yes. Bowed my head, said yes. I'm ashamed of that now. I would now kick their fucking ass, but I was a kid. I was intimidated. I was intimidated by the bishops, by the state authorities, and I wanted all of my kids to basically be sealed to us in the temple. And so we then got a temple recommend. And then it was Pittsfield, Massachusetts, a Pittsfield ward in Massachusetts. Look it up. So we put into the temple that we wanted to make an appointment and come and have our family all sealed together. Well, we had four or 5 kids at that time, and we put all their names in, and then pretty soon we get a letter in the mail. Whenever you get a letter in the mail that says, return address, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You don't want to open that letter, believe me. When the bishop calls you and says, David, you need to come in this Tuesday at 8 p.m., we need to have a little chat. They love to play with words. The Mormons are so good with English words. And thank God Mormonism is in English because it's a language that grows. If Mormonism was, in another dead language, the Mormon church would fall dead because they can't make shit up. So anyway, I got a letter, and it said, you can't bring Monica to the temple. She was 6 years old then. And you can have the rest of the children and your family all come. But basically, you need to get a babysitter and leave your 6-year-old at home. Well, even in those days, I had some integrity. They've never had any. They've never had integrity all the years that I have been associated or known anything about the Mormon church. Integrity is what a man will do when nobody will know. And believe me, nobody will know anything that the Mormon church does. It's all anonymous, and it's all behind the bushes and behind the staircase, behind the car. They'll never come out front and tell the world the real truth. So I looked at that letter, and I said to my wife, Janet, I said, well, honey, I can't take all of our children to the temple and be sealed and leave poor little Monica. She's a little tiny girl sitting here. See? Innocent. See? Innocent. See? Vulnerable. The church loves those words. They love those words. I said, well, I'm not the biggest man in the world, but I have some morality. I was 28 something. I said, that's not going to happen. Homie, don't play that game. So I went in and had a little chat with the bishop. And I said, I'm not that kind of a human being. We'll leave one little girl sitting on the couch, hungry, vulnerable, abandoned, and run off with all my other children. He said, well, she's not yours. I said, oh? I said, why isn't she mine? He said, well, she belongs to another man. I said, well, yeah. But before she was born, he left her life. And before she was born, he never paid any child support. He never saw her. He doesn't know her name. His name, I think, was Chuck Jacobson. Chuck Jacobson. Well, and I think he was from the South. No one ever heard of him. No one ever knew. She's been with me since she was a baby and been with the children, the other children in the family. I don't see my adopted children different than I see natural children. Children are children if I'm responsible. So anyway, the bishop said, well, you got to leave her home. I said, it's not going to happen. He says, well, the only other thing you can do is adopt her. I said, well, if you're going to bully me, that's what I was thinking. I didn't say that. If you're going to bully me, you're going to fuck with me, you're going to hold my family over my head and hold this darling, innocent little child hostage, you fucker. I thought it, but I didn't say anything. So I went home, talked to my wife. Now, because we were in California in those days, they had a program, a government program called Aid to Families with Dependent Children. And that meant that children whose parents didn't support them, especially fathers, that the government would pay, I forget, it was $700-800 a month for Monica's upkeep and her clothes and food and transportation and whatever. And she had that when I married her mom. They had Aid to Family with Dependent Children. Well, that money came into our family, and it went among the whole family. It went car payments, house payments, whatever. So it was a source of, additional income, and that was helpful to a young family. So I went to the attorney, Brad, what was his name? Brad something, Westfield, Massachusetts. I said, Brad, I need to adopt Monica. How much? And he said, well, I think in those days it was like $1,000 said, okay, so I paid him $1,000, and I adopted little Monica so she could go to the Mormon temple. That's what they required. They bullied me into adopting her. I didn't mind adopting her, but they didn't need to force me. They didn't need to force me. They didn't need to say, oh, you leave her home on the couch and you take the rest of the family to the motel and come in and kneel around the temple and you all hold hands together and there's mirrors in the room and a man in a white coat and he's sealing your whole family. And poor little Monica is locked out. She's home. She's not there. So I said, okay. So I adopted her, and Janet said to me, her mom, she said, now, you know, David, when you adopt her, the state of California is not going to give you, our family, you or me or the family, one more damn dime to support her. Her father's, not doing any support, and you're going to end up supporting her the rest of her life. And what was it? I don't know, $10,000 over 8 years. What, $80,000 I lost? That was a lot of money to me when I was 28 and still working with a young family. So I lost that $70,000 or $80,000 and took her because the Mormon Church forced us to do that. That they wouldn't just let us take a little girl there. So anyway, that's one of the first times that I had been intimidated by the Mormon Church, and I'm ashamed of that. I have to bow my head and go, I was a pussy. I fucked up. I didn't protect my child. I didn't protect my wife, etc. So anyway, then I went through school, and I was thankful. These days, I've looked back on it. I didn't get bullied in school. I didn't get teased in school. People didn't throw my books down on the ground and make fun of me and that kind of thing. And I look back on that now, and I say, God, I'm really thankful for that because of the poor kids that did get teased. And we had one girl in our school, one Mexican, the only Mexican we ever had, Raquel De Leon, and her father was De Leon. He was the bus driver. He couldn't speak a word of English, and people teased Raquel. And basically, I watched in high school, there were a couple of kids. Mike Meisenheimer, I remember, God, stupid looking kid, big ears and pimples all over his head and fucking hair that didn't match anything and dressed like an idiot. And they made fun of him constantly, just fun of him. They teased him, he took his books, made fun of him in class. And again, I was just a kid. So I hadn't learned yet to be man enough to go, hey, fuck, don't do that to him. Don't do that shit. Don't tease him like that. I was just a pussy. I said, well, I'm glad they're not teasing me. And I just, went on with my life. And so I felt bad these days about Raquel and Meisenheimer. And there were other kids now and then, certainly throughout the school, that got teased. Well, then I got into junior high school, and I got up to a situation where I had Ricky Griffith. I'll never forget Ricky Griffith. I had my girlfriend there in 8th, 9th grade, and we were sitting out on the lawn with 10 or 12 other kids. And back in those days, we had sack lunches. You people don't even know what a sack is. But we had lunches in a bag. And I would have my peanut butter sandwich and my apple and my Twinkie, and we'd be sitting in a circle talking. And Ricky Griffith was a grade above me, bigger. I wasn't some kind of athlete guy at all. I didn't play football and shit like that. I was just a normal kid. And Ricky was big and, and haircut and, asshole looking kid. So I just ignored him, and we were eating lunch one day, and he walked over to the circle, and I was eating my half of my peanut butter sandwich, and he walked up to my lunch, and he fucking kicked it over the goddamn building, the classroom building. It was like a soccer kick. We didn't have soccer in those days, but anyway, my fucking lunch went way over the building and gone. And of course, all of the friends sitting in the circle were laughing and laughing and laughing. David got his lunch fucking kicked over the building. David can't eat. And, in those days, again, I was a pussy. And I go, okay. And like the Mormon church, bow your head, say yes. Bow your head, say yes. Let them fuck you over the railing 8 or 9 times and don't even ask them for lunch. I was just intimidated. And I was just, I guess, a normal kid. But anyway, he kicked the fucking lunch over the building and they laughed at me. Well, we got on the bus that day at school. I rode the bus home in California. We always had school bus. And I sat down on the bench, seat of the bus, and Ricky Griffith starts walking down the aisle of the bus. And, I'm just minding my own business. I try to stay away from those kind of asshole kids. And he stops where I'm sitting, and he puts his finger in my face, and he goes, "You're sitting in my fucking seat." I go, Now, here's the principle. Here's the principle. If you don't stop bullies, they're going to keep on it. They're going to keep on it. They're going to keep on it. Eventually, somebody has to stop a bully. So I sat there quietly. I didn't say anything. And he decided to grab my shirt. And I don't know. I went crazy. To this day, I can't even fucking describe it. I went crazy. As soon as he touched me and grabbed my shirt, I went into another goddamn world. I jumped up. I grabbed him. I put him in a fucking headlock. I kept him in the headlock. I walked him down the aisle of the bus to the back door where all the steel latches were that held the emergency door, and just took his head and slammed it and slammed it and slammed it into the metal of the back door. Blood everywhere. On the door, on the roof, on the seats, on the floor. People screaming, yelling, 2 or 3 grabbing me, trying to get him from getting a chokehold off of him. He's bleeding like crazy, head injury. And finally they pulled me off, and I sat down and kind of collected myself a little bit and thought, God, this is my seat. This is my seat. I sat there. We went home. I dropped off. Well, the next day, we all came to school, and Ricky showed up at school. And when he showed up, his whole head had been shaved from the hospital, and he had like 23 stitches across the top of his head. And in those days, they weren't dissolving stitches. You had to take them out after 3 weeks or whatever, snip them out. 23 stitches all across the top of his head. He looked like shit. Looked like he'd been in a fucking war. He never said another word to me. He never teased me again. He never made fun of my family. He never made fun of my girlfriend. He never touched my goddamn lunch ever again. Now, is there a principle here? Maybe there's a principle here. I don't like bullies. Never have. I used to be a pussy. I just, okay, bow my head, say yes, raise my right hand to the square, give everything I have to the Mormon church, praise to the man, thank oh God for a prof. I just went through that whole bullshit my whole life. Now, I told you in another video, I'm having a birthday next month, and I'm old. I'm starting to push 80 years old. And you know what? I've grown up. I've grown up. If you fuck with my children, you fuck with my wife, you fuck with me, and you try to bully me, you try to take advantage of me, you try to take advantage of my children or my wife, yeah, you might have $300 billion, but you know what? You're going to need more. You're going to need more, Mormon Church, than $300 billion, because I would rather be dead. I'd rather be dead. And you know what? I'm not afraid to go and be dead. I was afraid to die all the time I was in the Mormon church because I'm never right. I'm never good enough. I'm never good at. You know what? I'm good enough now to die. I'm not afraid. Fall off the microphone right now. Okay, he's dead. You can say, we're going to get his children. Well, I have 14 children. If you killed all of them, I guess that would be okay because many of them are not going to stand up for themselves. They're able to be bullied. So anyway, the point is this. I've grown up. Mormon church hasn't changed. It's gotten worse. Oh, it'll take your job. It'll take your money. It'll take your family, take your friends, take your wife. It'll take your self-esteem. It'll take your money. It'll take your house. It'll take your car. They've gotten worse. But I got better. I got better. I'm not afraid of them. People say to me all the time, well, David, you've got all the, 2,000 videos. You're suing the Mormon church for millions of dollars. You're speaking out against the hand that feeds you. It's not the hand that feeds me. This hand feeds me, not the Mormon church. Well, they'll take your job. No, they can't take my job. They'll take your money. No, they can't take my money. They're going to do research on you. They're going to do all kinds of a background check. Then they're going to have the Desert News do this, and the committee to strengthen the members. They're going to report this and report that. Let them. I'm not going to be intimidated anymore. Not a bit. And I've said it 3 times now. 3 times, because I know I'm on their shit list. McConkie looks at my videos every fucking day. They're used to having people sue them. People sue the Mormon church like they eat breakfast every damn day. And the Mormon church has so much money, and people are so desperate, and they need this and need that. And the Mormon church, like Resignation, what was his name? I can't think of his first name. Norman Hancock in 1985 sued the Mormon church because the Mormon church, we're in charge. You can't resign. We're going to excommunicate you. We're in charge. We have power. And he said, no, I have power. And they said, okay, we'll let you resign, and everybody else now can resign, but don't tell them how much money we gave you. That's confidential. Confidential, secret, sacred. It's these people, they're animals. They're fucking animals. They're fucking animals. Secret, sacred, confidential. Anything that comes of my lawsuit, you can go right on Pacer, Pacer, the federal system. You can go right under the Pacer account. They charge you $5, $8. You can bring up all my documents. You can bring all the documents up that the Mormon church brought up that oppose me, etc. You can go right on Pacer and look at it. You can come on my video. They haven't answered my lawsuit yet. They haven't answered it yet. They had 21 days. They're halfway through right now. I've put in 4, 5, 6 memorandums to support the lawsuit. And I'm not going to let them buy me. No more. If I lose this lawsuit, it's going to be right there. Everybody in the world can say, oh, the Mormon church, they won. They crushed little David. They made him into mashed potatoes. They fucked him. He's antagonistic. He's an apostate. We taught him a lesson. Okay. I don't need to win the war. I've already won the battle. I've already won the battle. Because I stood up. I stood up for me, for you, for that little Monica, and for every child in the Philippines, and my 2 Filipino children that the Mormon church let starve to death in the Philippines. I stood up. I won. I won the battle. They may win the war. $300 million, you could buy the United States and throw all the people off of it, including me. But I won. Will they buy YouTube and erase me? They could. I've already been on the phone this morning figuring on the lawsuit. They've already erased some of the evidence in the bishop's handbook on resignation, name resignation. It didn't take them 7 days, 8 days. But basically, I had copy. Now it's gone into the algorithms. Copy's gone. They got money, and they're smart. But I have won. I have won. And I don't care how the war comes out. That's up to you people. You young people, I'm handing you the baton. If you want to have them intimidate you, steal your time, steal your money, embarrass your family, make you adopt children or unadopt children, if you want them to, force you to live with certain underwear, certain food, certain beliefs, certain political systems, be my guest. Be my guest. I don't care. I used to be like that. I used to be like you. Scared to death. Scared to death. No more. Maybe that comes with old age. Maybe that comes with experience. Maybe it comes with both. But I've won already. Just filing the truth. Filing and putting it in a record that's permanent. It's permanent. If I lose, you can go to the record. In 200 years, you can pull up on the PACER system. Oh, David sued the Mormon church and he lost his ass. They kicked his ass. They bent over and fucked him over and over again. You can pick that up off of the website. But I stood up for Meisenheimer. I stood up finally for Raquel. And I had one more situation with my son, who was in 6th grade. Came home one day and was crying. I said, son, what's he crying about? He said, Dad, there's this kid at school, and he keeps teasing me, pushing me down, punching me, making me drop books, and everyone is laughing at me. That's when I started to quit being a pussy. Many, many years ago. It's taken time. I've had to learn. I've had to have experience. Very seldom as human beings do we just turn over a new leaf. Oh my God, you were evil, now you're good. That doesn't happen in life. So anyway, I said, well, son, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a boxer. I don't have jiu-jitsu and judo, and I can't teach you all that shit, but, I know how to handle a bully. And he says, what do you want me to do, Dad? And I said, well, I'll take you to school tomorrow, and when I drop you off, I want you to walk up to the kid that is teasing you and tap him on the shoulder. And as soon as he turns around, I want you to hit him so fucking hard in the middle of his face that he falls down on the damn ground. Okay, Dad. Drove him to school the next day. He got out. There he is, Dad. Do your thing. Went over, tapped him on the shoulder. Kid turned around, just smashed the shit right out of his face. Kid went right down on the ground. Said, have a nice day, son. Well, I got a call from the principal the next day. He says, are you the guy that's trying not to be a pussy? And I go, yes, sir, that's me. He said, we need to have a little chat. I said, okay. So I go into the principal's office. It was in Thousand Oaks, California. And he says, do you know why you're here? And I said, no, there could be several reasons. The life I live, it's wide open. It could be anything. Tell me, what is it this time? He says, well, your son punched a kid out the other day that I don't know if they had to take him to the hospital, but they had to give him medical treatment. I said, oh, okay. He said, your son said that you told him to do that. I said, well, yes, sir. The Mormon church has taught me never to lie. They lie all the time, but they taught me never to lie. And I said, yeah, I did. He was being teased, and I told him to hit the kid hard as he could. And the principal said, well, Mr. David, you're gone. Get the hell off my school property premises. Don't show up here for PTA meetings. Don't show up here for assemblies. Your son playing an instrument or being in a theater. Get the hell off this property and never come back. I said, okay. And I did. He never touched my son ever again. He never teased him. He never took his lunch. He never took his homework. He never made fun of him. He never teased him in front of other people. Now, here's where I'm at. Okay, maybe I'm a little scattered on this particular video because it's emotional. It's emotional to me because I've been warned. You know, suing the Mormon Church, they're going to fuck you. They're going to fuck you. You know, they got $300 million. They can change documents. They have judges that are wearing garments. They have juries that are all wearing garments. They see that you're not wearing garments. They pretty much own the state of Utah. Well, that's true at the local level. At the appellate level, at the 10th district, 10th appellate, they in Colorado, they're a little more likely to be fair. But I'm not going to let them intimidate me anymore. I'm not going to bow my head and say yes anymore. I'm not going to give all of my signs, tokens, symbols, money, cars, houses, children, food to the Mormon Church. Not going to happen. Not going to fucking happen. I want my name off of that cult unit. I don't want to ever be associated with Nazi Germany. I never want to be associated with this unchristian. I used to say anti-Christian. In the last couple of days, I've learned that anti is a trigger word that goes, oh no, they're Christian. They're unchristian. They're not anti-Christian. They're unchristian. Look it up. Very different. They wear a Christian mask and they're unchristian, but they speak Christian ideas, but they do not engage in Christian behavior. So I'm done being intimidated by the Mormon Church. I'm done being intimidated for them taking my house, my car, my income. They can take everything. They can burn my whole goddamn house down, take every fucking car that I own, chain me against the goddamn wall, put electrodes on my penis. I'm not a pussy anymore. And I'm going to tell them, no. See, you never tell the church no. You always bow your head and say yes. I'm going to say no. I don't want my name associated with you. It's like the KKK. If I want to resign from the KKK, I want my name removed. If I'm a Nazi SS officer, I want my name removed. And I do not want my name ever associated again with the Mormon Church. Joseph Smith, the pedophile, Brigham Young, the killer of the Mountain Meadow Massacre people, the Kimball turning the Indian kids white, Holland lying and lying and lying about the growth of the church, using my name and your name as membership in the church. Yeah, the number comes off that we're not a member anymore, but that's not the only system. There's other number systems that the bishop can get into, that you and I can't get, that the stake president can get into, you and I can't, and the church offices can get into, my BYU history, my courts of love, all of that information is contained in different number systems of the church. And they're deciding right now, because of this lawsuit, they're getting fucked. It's going to come out. They don't have 17.2 million members. They know that. They're counting people up to 110 years old who are long, long dead. They're counting now children that are born. Children of record are now members of the church. They're counting the members, resigned members of the church, basically as members, and they're inflating those numbers, so other people in the world go, oh, there must be good. Look at all the... When I was in 11th grade, Woody Dean was the prosecutor in Ventura, California, later became the first president, dean of the law school at BYU. There were 10 million members of the Mormon Church when I was in high school. And now there's only 17.2. 7 million more? That's all? 17 million members. No, it's not true. The numbers are totally inflated. And if anything happens on this lawsuit, McConkie right now is running all over their fucking office. They're quiet as a mouse. They're quiet as a mouse because they're already done background checks. They've also looked at the videos. They've seen the lawsuit. They've seen the phone calls. They're planning and planning and planning. What they are scared of is if my lawsuit gets through the pre-trial motions and gets on the docket to be heard either in oral arguments and or in front of a jury, they don't think I can produce the documents. They don't think I can produce the documents that say, upon a legitimate resignation, the name of the member will be removed from the records, S plural. I know English. I have 2 master's degrees. I know English. I wrote 2 theses. Records of the church. Not the membership records of the church. Not the genealogical records of the church. Not the other records. Records is plural. McConkie knows it, and I know it, and the court is going to know it. And whether the court sides with them or not, I don't give a shit. I don't really give a shit. What's right is right. They said they would take my name off the records of the church. Now they've changed it. In 7 days. In 7 days, $300 million corporation. I went back into GPT-4. It's gone. It's gone. How'd that happen? When you have $300 million, you have the ability to buy anything. The old Temple movie that they took out, the preacher used to say, you can buy anything. No, Satan said, you can buy anything in this world for money. Do you sell your signs, tokens, and symbols for money? No, I hold them sacred. I remember that shit. I remember that shit. They've already erased. They've already erased. Try to get the General Handbook of the Records of the Church. It's gone. It's gone. So, I know what I'm up against. But you know what? I've already won. I've already won. Because I've said what's right. I've said the truth. I've defended myself. I've defended the principles of Christ. I've defended my family. And hopefully I've defended some of you that have been, entangled in this hideous cult. This hideous cult. McConkie doesn't know that before I filed the lawsuit, I screenshot. I screenshot. With times, dates, name of people that said your name will be removed from the records of the church upon resignation.